we post every Monday morning, sharing our life of traveling full-time, hiking, and hopefully eating vegan along the way. We started off this week, but first we're going to tell you that we are going to share with you the few tips for how to get a 5-star review. We're going to share a little bit about Mexico City, and a lot of people have been asking about our vegan eats, so we're going to share a little roll on our vegan eats as well. But before we get started, or after we get started, I guess, we started off in Ajijic this week. And before we left Ajijic, we had a last little hike with our friends Jimmy and Sarah, and went up to the top of the waterfall that had no water, and looked out into Ajijic and had a nice little goodbye walk with them. And then we started working on getting the house ready for the return of our homeowners. Now, Steve is the expert in how to get a 5-star review, so he's going to share some secrets.
Yeah, so we mentioned that this was a house sit that we were at. So we were taking care of a dog and 2 cats in a beautiful house in Ajijic. And one of the ways, a really very simple way to get a good review from the homeowners is to make sure that the house is exactly the same when they come back as it was when they left. And the way I do that is that I'm kind of meticulous about this. I'll go around in every room and take pictures and videos in the closets, in the drawers, because we were living in this house for 16, 18 days. And, we moved the pots and pans around, and we, moved the dishes and the food around.
Got towels out.
And we used, don't tell me you put our clothes in the closet and, things like that. So just taking pictures and being able to compare it and saying, yeah, the pot's in the right place, the pan's in the right place. And it's like, oh, wait, where did that blender go? Oh, we need to put the blender back away. Things like that is really helpful in making sure that the homeowners return and they see that it looks like nobody even was living in their home. So that's a really good feeling for them, and it's a good feeling for us to know that we can do that for them.
And it's perfect to make the pets happy too. We got a chance to roll some video here of the dog Novio watching his owners come home, so that was a lot of fun. But the way we get the house back into order is we really pay attention to those details. So we noticed that there were some fresh flowers when we first got there. So the Wednesday before they came home, we went down to the fresh market, met the flower man, talked with him in Spanish about his flowers, and discovered that the owner comes regularly every Wednesday and places the same order. So we placed the same order, got the same flowers, brought them back to the house, set up the house with the flowers. And then when they had picked us up from the airport, when we arrived, they had taken us out to dinner to one of their favorite restaurants. So we went back to their favorite restaurant, got takeout food, because we were picking them up from the airport and we weren't going to get back to the house till about 6:30 or 7 in the evening, which is, gets kind of late after you've been traveling all day. So we had a nice prepared meal for them for when they got home. So there was just a couple of tips. And then when they got home, when we over dinner, we had kind of a heart-to-heart about the experience and some of the things that happened that we could have brushed them under the rug, but I think it's good to be truthful and honest as you're sharing things with them about things that happen in the house.
Yeah, it's good for them to know that we were really there. We were really taking care of things and really being diligent in keeping their home clean and keeping everything in the right place. So talking about had a little ant thing and sharing information about that.
The pool thing and a
pool,
drippy faucet.
Yeah, little things, but it's the kind of thing that homeowners really, they know, and they know their house, right? And so for us to share the kinds of experience that we had and make sure that, we took care of stuff. They didn't have to get involved. We took care of their home as if it was ours.
Right. So after they got home and we said our goodbyes, then we packed up our 2 suitcases and our 2 backpacks, all 50 pounds of things that we own, and combined, and traveled by air to Mexico City. First thing we did when we got here was we went on a walking tour. That's one of the things that we really try to do when we arrive someplace. So we went on the free walking tour, and free means you tip the guide, and learned a lot about the city of Mexico. I have been here before and lived here before, but Steve, it was his first time. So he got to learn some things that I kind of assumed everybody knew, but Steve really got a little education.
Yeah, I had no idea that this was the center of the Aztec civilization for hundreds of years before the Spaniards arrived. And to hear about that interaction and how, that unfortunately the Aztec civilization was taken over. We all know about the colonialization and such, but to see that, and there's still some ruins here that you can see. You can see how the Aztecs might have lived. And there's hundreds of thousands of them. It was not like it was a small city. This was a huge city before the Spaniards arrived. But also, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this particular walking tour is the celebration of the culture and the art that's here in Mexico City, particularly Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. And we're actually, staying where our Airbnb is.
In their neighborhood.
Is in the neighborhood where they lived. And so it was really nice to hear about, see the art that's around the city, and to hear about how much these two are really celebrated as heroes in this country.
So then, again, through the Go With Less Facebook group, we met another couple, Dan and Lily, who had arrived, and we met them at one of my, no surprise, one of my favorite places in Mexico City is a food place, Pasteleria Ideal, which is the largest Mexican bakery in Latin America. And I've been telling Steve about this for years. So we met them there, and we went inside, and Steve's eyes kind of went gaga.
The bakery is just so overwhelming. If anybody's been to a Mexican bakery, this is on steroids. It's 2 floors filled with everything things that I'd never seen before. And you go around with your tray, and you put the things on it that you want. And there were so many people there. Really had to take trips because they were buying so many pastries. In these big boxes. And it was fun to figure out what the system is. So, you pick the pastries that you want, and then you have to stand in one line because you have to have the lady wrapping them all up. And that was an experience just to watch her, wrapping things up in paper and string and everything. She gives you a little ticket, and then you have to go to another line, to another counter to pay for it. And I think the total was maybe $4 or $5 for a big thing of pastries. And then you go back and you say, okay, here's my ticket, and they hand you your pastries, and then you can leave, So it was a great system, and it's just like, I love getting confused like that because it helped. I'm old, and it makes my brain think wait, what's going on here? What are these people doing? They're buying pastries, but it doesn't look like that.
So I took my old husband to the next place. So the 4 of us then found this hole in the wall little vegan restaurant called Vegetariano El Mejor Centro, and a little tiny place upstairs run by this one little lady. She was so cute. She kind of baptized us with alcohol spray as we walked in. And had a beautiful 3-course meal. It started off with, or 4-course meal. It started off with salad.
And you had a passion fruit.
Yeah, passion fruit, and then lentil soup, and then I had a pechunga, which is in the normal version of pechunga is chopped up meat, kind of grilled, and this was kind of a gluten soy product. And you had
same thing. It was chicken cordon bleu.
Same thing.
It was not, it was. All soy based and then vegan.
And then dessert of mango. Anyway, we did, for whatever reason, we didn't take a picture of the food, but we took a picture of all of us. So that was a lot of fun. Then off we went to, so the next day, on Sundays, I think Sundays in Latin America is maybe the best day ever. Every big city I've ever been in, Guadalajara, Mexico City, Medellin, Lima, Santiago, they all have Ciclovia, which is on Sundays, they close off the major roads and everybody gets out their bikes and goes bike riding or skateboarding or jogging or an outdoor activity. And so yesterday we rented some bikes and we went on the Ciclovia. And I think Steve, I don't know, he was grinning the whole time.
Yeah, I love cycling, and to be able to experience the city on a bike and with thousands of other people riding up and down the streets that don't have to worry about cars, but you were really riding through central Mexico City, past all of the the museums and
people doing Zumba in the street.
There was, lots of different things going on.
Walking, protesting Ukraine. So
it's a big party.
Yeah, it's just and everybody's active, and the Department of Recreation runs the one here in Mexico City. I'm sure that's pretty similar in the other cities too. And it's just a great time to get out. Then we met up with another set of friends, Joel and Linda. They actually follow us on Joel and Lisa. They actually follow us on EatWalkLearn.com. So not only do we have a YouTube channel, but we have a blog, EatWalkLearn.com, where we have over 200 places reviewed, and including our 50 Hikes, 50 States in the United States project, and we're on social everywhere too. So if you're not following us, those other places, do that, if you would. But we had a nice dinner with them and got caught up on a different style of living that they're doing. They're still staying at home and traveling some, so they're not quite nomads. But it was fun to share all that information with you. But now we get to all the food we've been eating, all the vegan food. So we talked, let me see, we had the chicken cordon bleu, and then of course the pastries, which I really doubt that those are vegan. They're probably loaded with flour.
Yeah,
and
all kinds of
things.
eggs and fat and stuff.
Anyway, we kind of looked the other way.
Yeah, it's good.
But next to so Steve loves me and makes sure I'm always happy, and so he picked an Airbnb that was next to a baked potato place, and so they baked the potatoes Hasselback style, and then they had 4 or 5 different vegan types, and you got a meaty thing, but I ended up with a poblano verde potato, so it was poblano chili and guacamole sauce all over it, which was delicious. And then yesterday we got some vegan taquitos and your waffle vegan Chewbacca sandwich, right?
Sandwich, vegan waffle with gluten-free waffle with all kinds of delicious things on it.
Yeah, and mushrooms, and it was really good. And it had syrup on it, so it was like sweet and sour at the same time, or sweet and savory at the same time. But then probably the best meal we had the other night, we went to in Cuyoacan on the park area. There is at night all the vendedores come out and the restaurants are open. And we found El Comalito. So a comal is a griddle, a big round griddle that the ladies cook your quesadillas and tacos on. And we went there, and they had one of my favorite ingredients. I first found this in Oaxaca. I haven't seen it elsewhere in Mexico, so I found it again last night or the other night. And it's wheat lacuchi, which is it translates as corn smut, but it is yum. It is like mush. It's the fungus that grows on corn, and so it's a mushroom. It looks a lot like mushroom and tastes kind of like a really meaty portobello mushroom. So in this particular instance, I couldn't resist having Oaxaca cheese on it. So that yummy Oaxaca cheese. So she put a slice of Oaxaca cheese on the griddle, then the wheat lacuchi on top of it, grilled it, and then meshed it in with those blue tortillas.
Yeah, the blue corn tortillas that are made fresh right there. So again, we've got the flat griddle, and it was just, you could see everything being made super fresh right in front of us. It was really great. And I think that the best part was the total cost for our dinner was maybe $3.50 for two of us.
Yeah, it's so cheap.
Yeah.
So Mexican street food, which street food is generally our meal. We hardly ever go out to a meal. It seems like we're always eating the good street food. Cheap, cheap, cheap. So anyhow, and a lot of people worry about Montezuma's revenge in relation to street food. They wash their fruits and vegetables just like we do in fresh water and jarred water. No one's using tap water to clean anything around here. So fortunately for us, knock on wood, we've been pretty good. No Montezuma's for most of the time.
Right.
Anyhow, we love you guys. We're glad you're here. Thanks for giving us a subscribe and a thumbs up. We will be back next Monday with all of our adventures in Mexico City, including a trip to the pyramids. So talk to you guys next week.